again, that's the thing, right? This is such a critical moment in the competition because this is a series that will garner you the slot to the Horizon Cup. So if you have those pocket picks, this is the time to bring it out. And for SBTC, very understandable, banning out the Galio just to deny any of the strong team fight power, the engage, the dives as well. So if ever we get to see no Olaf ban, that is still a possibility to be picked. But of course, Camille being the priority, still could be to TF, still could be to Unero. And it is, again, a potential way to get the pick composition ball rolling. But just as you mentioned, Jess, Kai'Sa priority, just as we expected.
Oh, like they love this kind of champion. Kai'Sa pair up with the Braum. Like you got the late game insurance and Braum for the safety of Kai'Sa in the early stage of the game. Yeah,
that's
really
true.
Incredible pick.
Yeah, and I feel like we need to as well watch the possible Unero versus Noelle matchup. Because, going into the series, this is a best of 5 series. Noelle has to prepare for, shifting games, either of these two very skilled players. That's going to be interesting to see. So I think, we have to have our eyes on Barrel Lane as well. And rounding this up, Varus going to SBTC.
I like this pick. Again, we remembered for poke long-range champions, the counter, either you have a Vi or a Jarvan 4 that is able to dive into the backline. And now the biggest question is whether or not Buriram wants to add more into that. What is going to be their jungler? Because I feel like this Jarvan 4 is going to be towards Noelle. He did play it numerous times before, up against their series against Evos, but looks like it's going to be the Nunu here. Moonfall into the absolute zero. I think that's pretty sick.
Yeah, and you add the chain of corruption into that mix as well.
Yeah, Jess, I'm eager to hear your thoughts on the Nunu. How do you think this is going to go for SBTC?
The Nunu. I'm not so sure about Nunu in this game because of snowball value. Isn't that much compared to like Jarvan Engage from Noelle. So I'm curious to see how this is gonna play out.
Yeah, and I think every time Nunu comes on, everybody's really interested, but nobody's really too sure as to how it's going to be. It's, it can be very 50-50, but it definitely is an exciting pick once you see, that adorable Yeti coming onto the draft. Riku, any final thoughts on this draft?
It's Jarvan 4 and Olaf together again. No counters for the Olaf. They are going to be in the same, basically in the same team, and I'm curious to see whether or not Kiral gets to survive the Flag and Drag Cataclysm, and as well as the Olaf just running straight to your face.
Yeah, well, let's get it started. Let's get into Game 1 of Buriram United versus SBTC. Casters, over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Mika, and we're so excited to jump into this very first series, the upper bracket finals, SBTC Esports and Buriram United. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up your seats because we're ready for some turbulence. We have the cool kid, Mr. TJ, over here. He's gonna offer you some tea.
Cool as ice.
It's up to you. You want to offer some tea, TJ?
Sure. Here's my tea. I think SBTC have kind of messed up this draft for them. They're not playing to their traditional win conditions.
You've spilled the tea everywhere, TJ. It's all over the floor now.
I'm sorry, it was hot. It was burning hot. I'm really sorry. I hope that everyone's okay. Take off any clothing that it's soaked into. If you ever get hot liquid spilled on your clothes, take that clothing off so that it doesn't burn your skin.
Yes. And it feels like it's a little bit hot for SBTC right now. They're going up against BRU, who have been looking on form, who have been able to play into this late game, especially with Kinemon. And now, like you mentioned, you're looking at this Nunu and like, okay, well, this kind of fits what BRU want.
Yeah, SBTC are drafting towards a mid-game. Normally, you look at TF and expect him to set up early dominance on the map. Him and Julie are the real stars of this team, as we talked about on the desk. It's down to that mid-jungle duo to take over games, and on Nunu Diana, they're going to need to do so in the mid-late game. Now, they do have incredible synergy in that mid-late game. Their team fights, absolutely terrifying. The TF Nunu is going to take the front lines while Julie comes in, and ideally her Moonfall happens right on top of the Absolute Zero. The two ultimates combine perfectly, and whilst all of that is happening, you can have Kiral in the backlines throwing out arrows, and Yanaro cleaning up low HP targets. It's a good team fight. The problem is, SBTC are going to opt into Buriram's game plan to execute it.
Oh, this is an interesting start though here. TJ flashing with the gold card moving onto TF. Might take him down. One last auto attack finds it, but Archony will fall in the process. Supporter drops low as well. He flashes away, but Shiba, the third to fall on the side of BRU.
But that was the team fight, and they just got it for free. That was exactly what I just laid out. The front line tanked up. Kirol walked through, throwing some arrows over the top, and everything works perfectly for SBTC as Buriram randomly run it down the river and find themselves in a very strange, disconnected fight.
And this is so strange for them, TJ. BRU is a team that never fights, never dies early on. I was so surprised to see that happen, and it looks like the aggression continues because now they're moving on to Julie. Concussive blows comes across the gold card, primed and ready for the moonfall, waiting for them in the brush. Look at that flag and drag onto 3, dives them on the turret. They jump into the Catalyst, and it's 2 kills and 3 back for BRU.
And that's much better because they've disabled the exact team fight we were just talking about. This is a team that if it isn't in a 5-on-5, and most critically, if it doesn't have Kirol, can't win those sorts of skirmishes. All of their damage, especially before Julie has hit the late game, is going to come from what Kirol can engineer and Yanaro can finish off. So Buriram do a very good job of isolating a fight they know they can win there up towards the top side.
And TJ, I have to say, if this were a flight I'm going on right now, I'd give this 1 star. The turbulence, just what after we took off, I mean, it's too much to deal with.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Let's talk about the Buriram composition because we didn't really have time to talk through it, but they've got a Twisted Fate, and that's going to be rather confusing into TF, and that's going to give them access to the side lanes early. So what I want to see them do during this early and mid game is set out to control the map and give a lot of gold over to Kinemon, who's going to get decently big into the late game. I frankly think that Buriram have kind of swapped places with SBTC in this game, because they're running a composition that needs early and mid control, and they're running it into a SBTC comp that just wants to team fight.
But we've seen BRU play a composition with the Olaf, with the Java quite a bit recently, and it looks pretty good from this team. I mean, it feels like place now, it's changed a little, but BRU are still able to execute the individual champions very well here.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that Buriram has kind of added to their quiver as they've gone through the tournament. They've gotten much better at being flexible, showing up during the early game, and that whole setup gank we saw up top is critical to their success. It needs to be more like that, going for these skirmishes, relying on the power of the Olaf and Twisted Fate to find engage and success in 2v2s and 3v3s.
It's been such a long journey for BRU as well. I mean, they've had to play throughout the entire competition, coming into the play-ins, making their way through the last chance qualifiers, and now in the playoffs, in the upper bracket finals. I mean, if we talk about finding new adaptations to the way they play, I mean, they've had plenty of games to get to this point. Well, we're starting to drag it up now. It's just about 5 minutes into the game. BRU will be the ones to start it up first. SBTC quite a ways away, not in good position to contest this.
Yeah, but that's all right, because SBTC can get the Rift Herald here, and that is the higher priority objective to most teams. It's interesting, though, because Buriram are pulling an SBTC. They're going to try and contest this.
Oh! He stole the Rift Herald! Archony, he teleports into the back, and he finds it. Glacial Fission comes across. They got the knock-up on the TF. Crowd control, lay it onto this Nunu, and somehow they take him down as well.
With a normal card! That wasn't even a gold card! That was just a normal card. He baited TF into smiting too early and just walks away with the dragon. We're with the Rift Herald Archony. That was incredible.
Jaw dropped. I'm in shock. I mean, what is happening? BRU such a magnificent start to this game. 61 HP, TJ.
That's insane. And Archony survives the experience as well. This is the stuff that Archony is so good at. This is why Buriram have gone so far. Not stealing Rift Heralds, that's the first time Archony's done that. But he's so good at finding positioning on the map and being able to survive that dangerous positioning. You see him there be able to teleport up top and engage with perfect timing. It looked ridiculous, it looked far too early, but there wasn't a whole lot of damage. Remember, all of SBTC's damage is in the relatively low DPS Varus, so he knows he can survive that engagement as long as his team comes up on time. He times it perfectly, just walks away from the fight.
And BUE off to a really solid start here, TJ. We haven't seen a turret go down, which is a little bit slower than usual, but still a lot of presence, a lot of map presence for these teams. Well, down the bomb side now, looking to take down support, who's had to flash away. Stand behind me available as well. Moonfall comes across, but Julie not able to catch anyone there. SBTC instead will be the one to get this turret.
There is something to watch out for Buriram as we get towards the mid-late game, which is I think they do lose these team fights. I talked about how good the SBTC team composition is, and I'll stand by that. And as you should know, if you've been watching this tournament, Twisted Fate kind of falls off a cliff. You get to that late game and Twisted Fate sort of stops doing damage. You're gonna have a damage spike for Twisted Fate when he completes his second item, which does look like it'll be a Lich Bane. So that'll be coming out around the 10-minute mark. And after that, Archony kind of just stops being a damage dealer, and all of Buriram are going to rest their hopes onto Kinemon. He's going to be the vast majority of their damage.
And it's going well for them as well. You look at what they're doing, they're moving together as a unit. You play towards with Archony's gold card, and you have so much pick potential here. They're looking to maybe take down Aquino as well. They get information with the Destiny. Almost see Noel drop, but he survives somehow. They're down to the bomb site now. Second charge comes across from the Rift Tower. That's 2 turrets over to BRU, but Noel will fall in the mid lane.
He just launched an arrow all the way down the mid lane and got the kill onto Noel. Absolute sniper.
It's a nice little pickup for SBTC to try to equalize a little bit. They also get a top side turret, but this is, well, a little bit different here, TJ, because BRU, they get 2 turrets in the same lane. So there's still an argument to be made that, well, BRU have an easier time still breaking open these other tier turrets.
Yeah, and again, I don't think a lot of this early trading matters too much as long as it's even, because most of these teams, both of these teams, are spiking towards the mid-game. So you can expect Buriram to take a lead right now whilst we're skirmishing. SBTC, especially because they have gold on Kiril, he's just completed his Muramana, can now start looking for team fights though. To expect like this next dragon fight as we head towards a mountain dragon to be incredibly impactful. If SBTC can engineer a 5-on-5 team fight here, they should win it, and that will turn the game in their favor. If Buriram can use the power spike of Archony to win a major team fight here, though, that opens up the game for them in turn. I'm a little worried, though, they're not going to be able to do that, given that Kinemon is about on par with this Varus.
I love that you mentioned that, TJ, because Kinemon, while he is about on par with Kiril, I mean, he had the Yucatan Rain upgrade. That could be the little advantage they need, because the Corrupting Chain missing out, that's crowd control loss for SBTC. That could be Dragon, and it will go to BRU.
And that kind of one miss on the engage dooms SBTC's fight there, because they don't actually have a whole lot of engage unless they're willing to risk their 2 tanks. And if you do that versus this team, you're asking Noel to jump onto your backline. We saw him do it so many times yesterday versus EVOS, where Noel on this Jarvan has an uncanny, a preternatural talent for getting in between the front line and the back line mid-team fight and just splitting all the carries that you want to survive from all the tanks that they're protecting with their damage.
And it's been a really nice adaptation for BRU. You know, this Jarvan has really started to find its footing through the competition. Well, they're looking to maybe take down Archony here, but it's a little bit overambitious because you have to watch out for Kiro as well. Watch Supporter. He's just running down the marksman here. One more auto attack will find him. He jumps back into the absolute zero, will fall to TF. You still have to watch out for Yunero, who's jumped into the back, cataclysm onto Aquino. But it's a fight on both sides. You have to worry about Shiva, though the undertow comes across. Aquino the next to fall with the flag and drag, giving a double kill over to Noel. And Yunero tries to jump back into the hook shot, but you have to watch out. A little bit more damage to take him down, but he gets away. With Julie joining in now. The Lunar Rush onto the creep into the back, and BRU will get away.
A good fight for Buriram, all things considered. They demonstrate Noel's prowess of doing exactly what we were talking about, getting in between the front and the back line. And you see the weakness, potentially, of SBTC's teamfight composition, where if Kiril isn't there, if he dies, or if he's zoned away by pressure, then it's very hard for SBTC to have enough damage to win the latter half of teamfights. You could see there, it wasn't the tankiest members of Buriram that were still there fighting. Noel was incredibly low HP, everyone else is relatively lightweight, but none of them could be finished off because Julie's not at his damage spike yet. That'll come later when he completes Rabadon's, and oh, this could be dangerous. We're fine.
It looks like a repeat of what we just saw here, TJ, continuing to fight in the mid lane, looking to take down Archony. The Chains of Corruption used twice in a row there to get the catch on the Twisted Fate.
So what you're looking for damage over on SBTC is when we complete Rabadons on Julie. And at that point, SBTC are really scary for Buriram because they're going to have 2 major damage threats, and Buriram need to fight now.
They're looking for the fight here, TJ. They found a Cataclysm and locked down the 2 targets. TF will fall. This Nunu not tanking enough just yet. Unaro jumps in with the Hextech ultimate. He trains back onto Shiba. They have to watch out for Julie. He's coming back in from the side, so they have to watch out for Diana. Gold card ready from Archini, though. It's a little bit too dangerous to try and step forward. BRU looking to reset.
Yeah, we're still poking here, so I'm scared, but this should be pretty easy for Kirol to walk away from.
Okay, gold card ready to jump onto Julie. The Moonfall comes across. It's onto 3 targets, but you don't have the damage left from BRU, so nobody will fall on either side.
Good play. SBTC slow down the pace of the game because, again, they're still waiting on those activations. So they're poking now. They're trying to play through their advantages there, but they don't take any major risks. They slow down the pace. They don't hard engage, which is what they need to do to win with this composition. Because as you can see, again, all of their damage is currently riding Kirol and will be until Rabadon's death cap is completed as the next major item for Julie.
Well, next Dragon, it's going to be Infernal, so this could actually help them mitigate some of those issues they're facing, TJ. Lacking damage on Julie, it could become... Oh, never mind. That's the Rabadon's completed, plus the Infernal coming up. I mean, we might just see Diana come online.
Yeah, and this is right about the time you're seeing Rapid Fire Cannon pivot being done for Archony. That's because around this period, it becomes less important for Twisted Fate to do damage. He can't really keep up. And more important for Twisted Fate to start being a gold card bot, an engage bot. So that's the turn. Archony has got engaged now, but he doesn't have damage, and Buriram don't have a whole lot of damage. All of that pressure is now on Kinemon versus SBTC, where they have Julie, where they have Kirol, and they are ready to fight for the first game of this best of 5.
Well, it's like you mentioned, Gold Card and Rapid Fire Cannon available for Archony, and they're playing towards the Dragon now. Both sides setting up a staunch defense, trying to get some control, vying for control around this Dragon Pit.
The other thing to watch in this fight is going to be Shiba, who's got some serious damage on the Olaf at this point. If he can get in range...
Nice engage coming through from Unaro. It's going to be Noel jumping into the back, diving into SBTC Esports, holding him in place for the Cataclysm, buying enough time, but Julie comes in with a big Moonfall. Shiba comes in with damage as well. The Absolute Zero coming through from TF. The burden of the carry on to Kinemon, who's looking for a fight up against the Nunu, up against the Varus, and they'll be able to find it with the Killer Instinct, diving with the ace against SBTC.
And Kinemon stays alive, matches and doubles the damage as he needed to for Buriram to win that fight. Additionally, we saw Noel doing what he does best, getting into the backline, splitting the fight. A lot of people got low there for Buriram, but because Yanaro was one of the first players to fall, there was nobody to finish off those kills. So all the low HP Buriram members were able to back up, stay alive in the back of the fight, and they convert a very easy, very clean Baron take after a dangerous team fight. And that'll be, I think, enough gold for Buriram to win this game. They're properly in it now. They're still going to need to win probably 2 more team fights to win straight out, but they've got a chance now.
And this has been fight after fight where Noel has been able to use that Cataclysm to build space for his team. Julie might be able to jump in and nuke for a decent amount of damage. But without the rest of his team, without Kiro able to follow through with the piercing arrow, you don't have enough damage to take them down.
And Shiba's doing an incredibly good job as well, getting into the middle of these hectic team fights and just chewing away at those tanks. Every time we see SBTC try to build that tank frontline of Arkano and TF, Shiba's able to just get right onto them and absolutely melt their health bars.
BRU now making use of this to play a 3-2. Split pushing, bringing 2 waves in at once.
Because of this split, they're working away at these turrets. They could end this game with a big team fight if they want to step up for it.
Exactly like you mentioned, so Unaros had to come back down to the bottom side. They're looking to take down Shiba. Right, the rock going to be procced, and to keep him safe, the rest of the team's going to rotate over as well.
A good take by Buriram to convert on that extra turret. They played the macro very well there. They played the split between the 2 lanes, a 3-2 split with 3 players mid, 2 players down bottom, incredibly effectively. The 2 players that were disconnected in that kind of lesser group were the Twisted Fate and the Olaf, and you saw the reason for it there when SBTC said, okay, we're going to match that 2-player bottom lane with the majority of our forces. You've got the Olaf who spends Ragnarok and just walks away from the team fight. And you've got Archony who can teleport away from the team fight with his ultimate. So there was no way for SBTC to punish that group.
And I love what we're seeing with the Twin Shadows adaptation from Archony as well. The fact that he's been able to play aggressively enough because he's positioning so well, he doesn't have to worry about defensive item. He can get additional utility with his active item.
And off of this Baron take, as I was talking about, Buriram have built such a big gold lead that they can now win the next couple of team fights. They can fight the next couple of team fights with a minor advantage. That advantage is named Kinemon, and he's real scary. He did just complete his 4th item, one away from full build, and he's going to chew through these team fights as a late-game snowballed Kai'Sa should, which is to say he's going to be at least as scary as the SBTC combo of Kirol and Julie.
So you get a 2-for-1 special. You have one guy doing the job of 2. BRU pretty content with how this game has been playing out. It's going to be that Elder Cloud Drake coming up next. BRU could play things slowly. I mean, they have the Baron coming up as well. So a couple objectives to keep your eyes on. If you're BRU, well, you just want to play things slowly, get some control. You have quite a decent amount of pressure on these inhibitor turrets.
I will also note here that there needs to be a somewhat better job done by SBTC of keeping Shiba off of that tank frontline in these team fights. Because just as important to the success of their team as all of the damage dealers doing damage is their tanks surviving for the first couple of moments. And the last couple of team fights, Noel on the Jarvan has done a much better job of being a frontline tank than TF on the Nunu.
I'm starting to see Archony really start to pose a threat to SBTC Esports. You notice how careful they are positioning around him. And Archony's, well, his gold con just barely timed out there as they look for a catch onto Unero, but Unero's coming back for revenge. He's trying to get a catch back onto BRU. Gold con locked and ready for Archony, who's joined back into the fight. A beautiful disengage coming through from Noel to build space for the rest of his team as the flag and drag chases after the Camille, but Kai'Sa falls over the wall instead. With the killer instinct, Kinemon's coming up massive. This late game hyper carry Kai'Sa too strong for SBTC to deal with.
And the tanks die before any damage is dealt. Yes, Kirol is there, but because Noel zones him off with the Cataclysm, he's flashing away. He's not dealing damage and the tanks are dying, and there's no value found. And Buriram can march towards the end.
Unbreakable blocks off this damage. Minion wave has scored it in. Death time is looking too low. Kirol's gonna fall as well. The Nexus, the targeted focus for BRU. It's game number 1 to the Thailand region seed.
Incredible stuff from Buriram. They flipped.
Like if Buriram were going to do the same thing and bring out pocket picks, you know, it's back to the drawing board. SBTC don't know what to do once again. Riku, as we enter Champ Select right here, what about you? How can they adjust? How can SBTC adjust going into game 2?
I just say, you know, just pretty much look at what EVOS has been constantly banning against Buriram United. The Braum is constantly banned, the Twisted Fate is definitely always removed, and the Olaf as well against Shiba. Now that's basically 1 out of 3 champions that Buriram cannot take. That will definitely strengthen again this game number 2. And now there is a shift. Camille now being left open. Prioritized now this time around is SBTC on the Renekton, so TF can pick up the Camille, set up ganks for Unero to get him ahead.
And the priority pick coming in once again on the Kai'Sa for Kinemon. Look at them! Look at them! They're so chill. They're like they're just laughing, smiling. Yeah. A while ago we saw them doing this, you know, clappy game thing. I mean, you know, they not only feel confident in the game, they don't look like they're stressed at all, and I can imagine that must be so frustrating on the side of SBTC because they must be racking their brains out as to how to, you know, be able to break through Buriram's defenses.
Yeah, big true. And once again, Buriram with the first 3 champion that they love for. They love to play. Oh wow! Could this be a replay of game 1?
Possibly, yeah. If SBTC, you know, if they left those champions open, gotta wonder what exactly, you know, they're going for here going into game 2. We do see the Diana coming in. We do know that Kirol's very skilled on the Varus as well. Now they bring out the Vi. Riku, what are your thoughts on this draft? It looks like our plays are wrapping up.
Yeah, this is really good for TF just because, again, if there's a single target threat on the opposite side for Buriram, might as well just get that easy click lock-in towards Kinemon here. And every time Assault and Battery is available, definitely they're gonna instantly target Kinemon every single time, remove him immediately. But the problem is Supporter is gonna be there as that really, really good, basically support to peel for Kinemon, and I think it's still a huge problem. There is a reason why EVO's constantly banned Braum in their grand finals during, again, in their region and as well as yesterday's series.
Jess, I heard your reaction earlier. This is, I think you're writing this off. Is this going to Buriram?
For sure. They play TF and Jarvan and Kaisa Braum again.
Yeah, it seems like SBTC are going into this sort of spiral over here. We're gonna see if they can pull out of it though as we enter game 2. Casters, over to you guys.
And ladies and gents, we're going into game number 2. BRU, they came ahead in game 1, took the win away, and now in the second game, they're running the same composition. SBTC, well, they tweak things a little bit here, TJ.
Yeah, they like put on a new suit, you know? They look a little bit better, but it's not, they didn't change the person. And I think I've got a problem with that, to be real with you, Granton.
Oh, man. I mean, SBTC, they had some issues, right? Trying to convert any advantage that he had. I mean, I love the adaptation that he did by banning away the Olaf because we saw how potent Shiba was with that, but they're still running it back, like you mentioned, with the same person.
Yeah, you have this one guy at the front of the theater, and he's always the worst. Every time you try and go buy popcorn, he calls you rude names, all that. So you go to theater management and you say, look, I'm going to be real with you. I'm not visiting this theater anymore if you don't change that. And they say, yeah, no problem. We'll change him out. We got other people. We've been meaning to fire him anyway. You come back the next day, same person. He's wearing a new suit. And that's what SBTC have done. They've added a little bit more late game emphasis to this team with the Renekton and Vi. Those are two characters that are going to rely on getting to the late game. Those are also two characters that are very effective at finishing off the picks that get softened up by Kirill's arrows. But they haven't changed that this is a composition that needs to get late game. And that's why Buriram are trying to fight now.
I mean, it's an early skirmish, but I mean, BRU is really just trying to establish some control in the mid lane again. SBTC, well, like you mentioned, they're trying to help themselves tide through into this late game. And, well, we've seen how well Kinemon's able to come online once he's able to have those resources funneled into him.
Yeah, Kinemon did a good job of being the late game insurance for Buriram last game. Akino and Kirill are really skirmishing here, and Kirill's in trouble.
We'll have to see if this is actually going to
Kirill's
turn into
in
something
huge
substantial.
trouble.
Akino's going to have to flash away. Archie's chasing after, but he's not going to commit his flash either. It's too much of an investment for that one kill.
Kirill flashed down bottom to survive, barely did so. Kinemon did not spend his own flash.
So it's an interesting start as well between the two marksmen, and well, if Kinemon's able to come online organically without interference from the rest of his team, I mean, that just turns out so much better. I love what you mentioned earlier, TJ, about the concept of Renekton being a weak side Baron laner, because we're starting to see that here. Both teams have kind of ignored the Noelle Yunaro lane in favor of just finding pressure in the mid to bot side.
Yeah, we were talking about this off stream. The Renekton basically just wants to chill out here. And the reason why Renekton is one of the most high priority characters in the game,
Oh no, Archie gets caught in the mid lane, but survives with the barrier. Julie might go down, the concussive blows, one more attack finds it, and Supporter chasing him down. He's looking for it, just one more strike, won't get it though.
His arms are too short, he's lifted too many weights, and he can't bend his elbows all the way.
Oh no, TJ.
He's got big biceps, but he can't flex them all the way because the big muscles are getting in the way. He's like Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 90s, and he can't finish the kill.
Whoa. Arnold Schwarzenegger was a very aesthetic human being. I'm not going to dive into this tangent.
Yeah, but he couldn't bend his arms all the way. That's my point. It's still a good save from Supporter. It keeps Archie alive, and he's looking for a setup here.
And they do find a setup down to the bottom side. Explosive Cast comes across, but still stuck within the Catapult, and Archie joining into the bottom side, commits the Gokhan, and it's not necessary on Kirill because they still find a kill.
That was so clean. Buriram show up in the bottom lane and deliver a razor-sharp gank. everyone, 4 players arrived pretty much simultaneously, undetected by SBTC. And that'll be exactly what they were aiming for with this early game Twisted Fate composition. Again, Buriram are a little bit up against the timer because this Renekton wants to last till the late game, provide teamfight value, be a frontline for Kirol and Julie to operate kind of from the safe zone he and Arkano create. That's what this late game dream is for SBTC. So Buriram don't want to let them get anything during the early game because they want to close this game quickly. And that's why it's actually very important that SBTC just snuck away that dragon. Just lifted it out for the museum.
But SBTC has had to invest quite heavily to get that dragon. They lost 2 kills in the bottom side, so they could reset a little bit faster. But now they've lost some tempo towards the Rift Herald, which is, well, we've seen it as kind of an evolution for teams to prioritize Rift Herald. We've seen it double back a little bit, but still overall, a very nice objective to pick up.
Yeah, I want to touch on that. I think we're going to have a fight, though, so I'll hold it.
Yeah, you have to watch out for that. The Chain's Corruption is going to be used early. Noel doing a good job
Watch
blocking
Yanaro.
off the members. Kinemon coming in as well. This early game, Kai'Sa still has enough damage, so you have to respect this, have to watch out for you. Yanaro gets caught, the Killer Instinct available, but Julie jumps in. It's a 4-man Moonfall. But it's not enough. He still falls, but Yanaro's come online. Noel grabs the Honey Fruit, so he's still alive. Ajani preps the gold card, faces off against Kirol, but a piercing arrow comes across, and Noel dodges away with the flag and drag, gets back on the turret.
An excellent team fight for SBTC. It's hard for them to fight right now, but they managed to kite Buriram into this narrow choke point. Oh, man.
Oh, man. Kinemon's gonna go down here unless Flash is away.
Bird Flash. So they managed to kite Buriram into this narrow choke point, and that's where SBTC's front-to-back team composition is going to function best. You see why there. Arkano and Yanaro both individually managing to hold the front line for periods of time, building space for Kirol to throw arrows over the top, and yes, for Julie to go in and land a 4-man Moonfall onto the clump with a Renekton over the wall, waiting, begging for a chance to clean all that up.
He joined into the fight like a bomb, TJ. The second he went in there, he was the follow-up damage that Julie needed.
Actually, Yanaro tried to engage a second earlier, and Noel walled him out with the Cataclysm, so he came over the wall and just got his head bonked on the Cataclysm and couldn't achieve anything. But
we don't talk about those, TJ.
saved.
Yeah, we don't talk about those. We just talk about the good moments
Right,
from Yanaro.
okay, sorry. Great play by Yanaro in the second half of his fight there. As Noel once again did a really good job with that Cataclysm of splitting the fight. That's been Buriram's bread and butter. That team fight stabilization, I don't want to call it a win, stabilization by SBTC has bought them more time, which is why you see this Rift Herald. This is a chance to increase the tempo for Buriram.
But they're committing 4 from both sides to the bomb side. Shiva's caught down by the Assault Battery. Nice use of Hextech Ultimatum. Goldcard comes across. They've taken down the Divine first, and they found a second on Julie. They're gonna drop 2, though. It's a nice return coming through with Aquino and Kiro still looking large. Facing off against Ajani. Flash away. You have to worry about Shiva getting the shield, but the Proto Belt, not the Proto Belt, but the hook shot's gonna get him out.
Yanaro. Can Yanaro clean this up? They're both low. They're recalling in the bush. He has to know.
Gold card's ready, locked and loaded, up against Shiba. They get enough damage, they get the hook shot across, but still have to worry about the call.
He finds the kill, and look at this. Noel's caught out as well.
I mean, he's joining in, but the fight's already over, TJ. There's nothing left for him to get done.
Oh, man. What a turn from SBTC, and you see the front-to-back composition they're dreaming of as Kirol sits in the back line and just throws out arrows, and sure, Buriram are winning the very front lines of the fight, but the damage is ticking up.
Watch out for supporter. Ajani's running fast as well. He's playing it like he's going for the 100-meter sprint. Has the gold card ready. SBTC need to back away.
We get a lot of criticism on these desks of the Vi. I want to talk about why the Vi is actually useful, because we just got a fight that really demonstrated it. The Vi stuns, her ability to CC chain, are second to none. She provides more utility than almost any other jungler because she can lock people down on their aggression. She's a heat-seeking missile. And there, it locks down the front line and gives SBTC time to turn the fight. A feat they're gonna have to repeat, because here we go for the Infernal.
We'll have to watch out if the Vi's able to get that done because he's a target of focus. Taken down by BUE, the first to fall in this fight. Gold card from Ajani onto Yanaro. The concussive blow's not going to be there because he's dashing away. Julie now joining in as well. A little bit late to the party, but still here nonetheless. And BRU, they need to be cautious about this because Kirol, once again, these piercing arrows are too good.
No smite though for this dragon.
But they get the dragon either way. Inferno over to BRU. Not sure if this damage is going to mean enough for BRU to survive things. Flash away from supporter. Kinemon has to run away. Julie chasing after with Kiro. Loading up the piercing arrow. It won't be enough to take down supporter though.
Team fight win for SBTC. They're going to get a turret off of this, and it's the mid turret as well. This game is breaking much better for them. Yes, Buriram get the dragon. Yes, it's an infernal dragon, but they're hitting the same point they did last game. And if you're doing the check, if you're measuring how much gold do they have on their key carries, the stuff that got Buriram through a devastating game 1 with that mid-game teamfight, you'll notice this time around, it's the carries over on SBTC that have a gold lead. Julie is ahead of Archony. Kirol is ahead of Kinemon. And even though the compositions are roughly identical, that gold difference is going to mean that these upcoming teamfights are very dangerous for Buriram in a way they weren't last game.
And for a champion that was supposed to play to the weak side, Unero has come online 4-0-2, 8,500 gold now. I mean, just looking pretty strong.
And that's why you play Reactor, because it was a weak side. He got almost no resources. You can look, they've taken no turrets, there have been no fights in the top side. But he still managed to leave the lane and deliver on the promise. Show up in these team fights and find massive value. That's what Renekton is good for. You don't need to give him anything, and he shows up and pays rent.
Well, BRU, they need to be a little bit cautious about this. The Baron's up in SBTC Esports, well, they're vying for some control there. And so this is important for BRU to watch out, as Unero is just causing a bit of a problem in the bottom side, in these side lanes, especially with his teleport available.
Yeah, and this is really good side laning. Unero, both top laners have been very impressive across this tournament, and Unero is going to be teleporting into the fights here. First recall lane.
They're trying to match this here. Shiva's down the bottom end. Archony
Well played.
looked like he was trying to go to the top side, but he decides to go back to the mid lane instead.
And you can see here Buriram are afraid to take these fights, and that's because it would have been a fair, it would have been an even fight up top without Kinemon there. And I don't think they win any fight without Kinemon there. I don't think they win very many fights at this point, but absolutely they need to have Kinemon. Here's an interesting flag. Archony is not going for rapid fire cannon. He's going for more damage. He's rushing the Rabadons, which I think indicates that Buriram recognize that they're behind right now, recognize they're in trouble, and they need a little bit more teamfight damage because Kinemon's not online yet.
It's a very interesting adaptation from BRU. And Archony, while his positioning has still been pretty on point, but he's been relegated into his side lane, and so that might be a contributing factor as well. Right now, we do see Shiba playing aggressively up against Unero. They shoved out this bottom side wave, but there's not much to find the other end. Kinemon's giving target focus. They're locking him down first. TF joining in. Flash forward the gold card. Archony's gonna get caught by the explosive cast, and the rest of his team not there to follow him up. The Twisted Fate has to run for his life. Blue card locked and loaded. Unbreakable will stop the piercing arrow. You still have to watch out from Julie. Shiba coming online now. Noel misses out on the chance to get the knock up, but it doesn't matter because they take him down either way. Aquino flashes out, gets away, and Kiro's still off putting damage in the backline BRU.
They're all low, but Julie's dead, Unero's dead. Nobody can finish them off. Both the assassins that would dive the backline were shut down early in that fight because they didn't have support from Kirol. What was Kirol doing? He was desperately trying to survive whilst Noel dove him and threw down a cataclysm on top of him. Time and time again, Noel splits these fights and wins these fights for Buriram.
And so important for Noel to be actively present in these fights. You can see how they bring Archony into the side lane to deal with Unero. Instead, Noel is grouping up with the team. He's the one that's grouping up together. Shiba's the one rotating. Archie's the one rotating. And it's panning out well for BRU because they understand what they need to get done. This tank Jarvan has been paying off dividends for BRU now. Dragon started up again. SBTC a little bit late on the uptake, so they're a bit far away. Doesn't look like they quite have to re-engage.
One of the other differences from the previous game is that Buriram don't have quite as much value on Shiba. He's fallen a tad behind here. He does still have a gold lead. That's why he's been so aggressively farming. But he's yet to find big assassination potential on this Camille. The one thing he will offer, regardless of gold, is you can pay attention to where the Hextech ultimatum lands. And if he's able to lock that onto one of the key damage dealers, looking particularly at Julian Kirol, maybe Yanaro as it was last fight, that's going to, one, restrict the movement, prevent any assassin dive or any kite to stay alive, and two, it's going to reduce their damage output. And that's exactly what happened to Yenaro that fight. He TP'd in, locked in the Hextech ultimatum, could not move, stuck in a bouncy castle. And he took a lot of damage. It was a very sturdy bouncy castle. But if that keeps happening, sir, SBTC are going to really struggle to team fight here.
We're starting to see some of those issues arise here, TJ, and SBTC, while they have been kind of in control for the past 5 minutes of the game, BRU, well, they're starting to wrestle it back a little bit. You know, they've been finding these small incremental leads. And Shiba, while he hasn't been this pick-off, backline killing kind of carry, has been able to farm up the stone and just organically come up to a decent amount of gold as well.
Shiba, and we saw like a little bit of that down bottom when he was jumping in and grabbing some of the Krugs. That's what he's been doing all game. He's constantly looking for angles, trying to get gold. And it's really impressive that he's done that against TF, who's one of the most aggressive junglers in the world. Just being able to steal little bits of gold away. Shiba has traditionally been a little bit more supportive, a little bit more of a team player than someone like TF, who tends to take over games. So it's really cool to see him matching what TF can do here. And I think one of the reasons why Buriram United are going so far in this upper bracket.
I'm looking down towards the bottom lane now, though. Noel's matching Unero, and this is a different take from what we've usually seen. While Shiba's looking for a catch onto Julie with the hook shot to get the damage across. Might be able to take down this Diana first before Unero can join in. It's a teleport coming in, but it's too late.
Yeah, Archony very well played to get in there and find the kill.
Nice facial vision to get the knockup on the Kiro. I'm not sure this is the call for Kinemon dive in. It will be, but the killer instincts used on TF instead. Flashing forward, looks for the Winter Spite. The explosive cast knocks them back. Aquino gets caught by the stun. Shiba chases after this Varus. And Shiba, he's become this backline killing monster. And Kiro will eventually fall to this Camille.
Very well played. He lives as well. Beautiful stuff from Shiba. I was criticizing him for not putting enough pressure on the backline. He does exactly that. But now, that's going to be an inhibitor broken by Yenaro. Is the only player left on the board for SBTC. He gets what he needs to done. Julie's going to respawn in time to defend their own inhibitor. Yeah, Buriram got a ton of gold off of that. They better hope it's enough that Kinemon can carry these upcoming team fights. Because if it's not, SBTC have just got a massive win condition.
Well, TJ, it might be a big amount of gold, but it's only barely pulled BRU ahead in gold now.
Yeah.
That being said,
the thing you want to watch is how
to...
much of that is on Kinemon. He's currently leading the game in gold, 15,000. That's roughly what he needs to be doing in order to be successful this game. But with that completion of the Infinity Edge, he'll do a ton of damage in these team fights. And it's all down to whether or not Kinemon is doing that effectively enough, whether he's playing well enough to win versus the Renekton, which has so much frontline HP, so much stun. The TF Vine, which is going to be just mainlining him, looking for the kill, looking for the knockups to find him. It's all on Kinemon's shoulders once again for a second game in a row as we approach this Elder Dragon.
I mean, it's a great deal of pressure on Kinemon here, but if he gets this, well, I'm sure he's going to get a TJ Gold stun. That's the destiny. They can get some information. They dive in the back. Look to take down Kiro first. And watch out for Buriram United because they're collapsing on SBTC Esports so quickly. Unero gets the trade back on the Shiba. Watch out for Julie as he comes in big. Kinemon's still alive, but he doesn't have the damage to take down Unero with the flash bro from TF. Nice fucking drag onto 3 to take them down, but Kinemon has fallen. It's just down to Archony. It's down to Archony facing off against Unero, who still has a Guardian Angel. This Renekton will not go down. Noel tries to buy time, but the gold can't land on Aquino instead. The two remaining members from SBTC will face off against BRU, who are effectively running for the hills and won't be able to get much more done.
Incredible performance by Julie and Gennaro as they turn a team fight where Kirill goes down first. Buriram have a great read on the situation, and so they spot an angle where Shiba and Noel hard engaged, shutting down Kirill, denying the backline damage. Let's take another look at it. Watch this engage. Boom, boom, double dive. Hextech ultimatum, Cataclysm, Kirill's just dead. No two ways about it. But then things start going wrong, because Gennaro has shredded the front line, and with a follow-up dive, Kinemon's dropped very low as well, and he wasn't contributing damage because that dive was so far away from him that he wasn't able to shred these frontline tanks during the first part of the fight. So now as we get to the second half, they're roughly still full HP, all the damage went onto the squishies, and Gennaro is doing so much.
And as we look at the live camera, he watches SBTC collapse back in on the Elder Drake again.
Take two.
Kinemon so far away from the fight. The Destiny is going to be used to get information where they are. SBTC respects this and are not going to go too aggressively forward. They find the catch onto Julie first, but the explosive catch going to knock them away. Nice catch from Julie. The Glacial Fissure going to buy some time, but Supporter and Noel in the thick of things. You have to watch out for the side though, because Kinemon's come online. He's taking down the first. He's looking for the second on the TF. It's going to get handed to Shiba instead. And they're looking for Unero now. No Guardian Angel available for the Renekton. Means they have to run away, and it's Elder Drake in the eyes of BRU.
A devastating misposition for TF and Julie. They're nowhere near the rest of the team.
No ults. Carol's going down. It's Noel coming up big, taking down the marksman on the side of SBTC.
And once again, Buriram have pulled out a game in a late game team fight. The Destiny from Archony gives them all the information you need, and Julie panics. He throws out all his engage. He doesn't get anything with it. His stasis is spent. He dives past the fight, drops the ult, gets nothing with it, and he's dead. And just like that, SBTC have lost a massive late game team fight. Buriram get the Elder, they get the Baron, and I think they've got game 2 at match point. That would be so close to a ticket to the Horizon Cup.
Kinemon's coming up massive here, TJ. 10 and 2 at this point. 5 full items completed. And now with the Guardian Angel, you have to kill him twice. Once isn't good enough, TJ.
A very important item completion for him. And you also need to keep your eyes, as we go into these late game team fights, on the effectiveness of Kinemon. Because that last fight, okay, are you really doing
What's
this,
happening
Shiba?
here? Unero, this is a little bit aggressive here. They will manage to find the kill, but Shiba's gonna have to run away, and it's
They're running
looking
down
like
mid.
SBTC Esports are gonna find one back, but in the mid lane, you have to worry about
Look at him in the game.
S going to wave in. He's buying so much time.
That's the
Shiba's held them
game.
in place because they're going onto the Nexus. The faction will not save them. BRU with a game 2 win.
This happen. And you know, Jess, right now, as we're entering Champ Select, we know what they have to do. We know what they have to ban. What are the power picks though for SBTC Esports?
You know, if you're gonna let Kaisa go, might as well pick Corki, yeah, to go toe to toe with Kaisa later on in the game. And this time they switch up to red side, surprisingly,
Yeah, that's a little odd
and
over
ban out
here.
the Braum
but-
as well. But open the Galio up. Yep, there you go.
Yeah, it's gonna be fine, right? Because SBTC can pick Kaisa plus something that they want to prioritize
Yeah.
in this current matchup. And then Kinemon is just gonna pick Corki plus Galio. We saw Supporter being an amazing Galio in their performance up against Evos. And we saw him completely fine, even getting that quadra kill up against Evos on that Corki. So again, this is the matchup that we're looking forward to.
I just have
Yeah.
to point this out. There's somebody hiding behind Buriram's couch. Right, there's just I'm not sure if he feels like he can't be seen, but it's just like really silly to point it out. But yes, you know, SBTC, they do give that leeway once again to Buriram, and again, I'm wondering why they're taking the draft a little bit passively. They're bringing in the Nunu and the Willem too, which we have seen has been a wild card over here, but they didn't have a lot of success with that earlier. I mean, Jess, are you scratching your head right now?
Oh, apparently no. I do think that this looks this makes more sense compared to
Earlier,
yeah, the earlier draft that SBTC tried to bring out Nunu.
Interesting. And you know, as you mentioned over there, if they don't get the Kaisa, somebody else can pick up the Corki, and we are seeing a Keno on the Thresh. We have seen the Thresh, not that great of a win rate, but in terms of SBTC using this champion, it's pretty good. Riku, final picks are in. What are your thoughts here on this draft?
I'm surprised Gragas wasn't picked. You definitely need that disengage up against, Buriram United, especially the fact that, again, they're very incredibly strong when it comes to the 5v5. They need that cast. They need the body slam as well to help engage and disengage. So now they've picked up a Thresh. That means they're hoping to win, possibly maybe the 2v2. Maybe perhaps they get to basically put Shiba on early ganks to set up basically for Kiral for that early lead. Maybe, just maybe. We'll see though, because the Thresh, remember, in the series yesterday, didn't pan out so well. Only one victory out of 5 games against Team Secret yesterday.
Yeah, and as we enter Game 3 again, this could be it for Buriram United, and if it is, they are going straight into the Horizon Cup. This is incredibly crucial right now. SBTC Esports, they need to come back. It is now or never. Casters, over to you guys.
Thanks a bunch, Mika, and hear that, TG? Horizon Cup is calling for BRU, who are 2-0 up on this series.
I see it on the horizon, Grandin.
Oh,
and I see
you got me
Buriram
there.
getting on the plane to fly over that horizon. They've just got to win one more game.
And all the stakes lie on this, but BRU, they've gone back to their bread and butter. This
That's
staple
good. Get it
composition,
out.
SBTC, they have something interesting here as well, TJ.
Yeah, it's a little bit... I don't know, it's a little bit more of a return to form from SBTC. At the very least, they have built themselves more options in the late game with the addition of the Ziggs to this roster. We flipped Kirol off of the Varus. I think he was performing pretty solidly on, but he's now onto one of his power picks. This is going to be the Kai'Sa alongside the Thresh Arcano in lane. That's going to be SBTC's ticket to disrupt the early game. Kirol is very good at this. If he can get an early lead going here, SBTC... Oh my god, Noel, that was dirty. If Kirol can get an early lead here, he can disrupt what Buriram want to do, which is the same as it has been for the last couple of games, but they got a little bit more late game damage now that Kinemon's on Corki.
Yeah, it's a shift away from that, and we're looking to see if Kinemon is able to be that late game damage carry, or it's going to be Kirol, because we've seen it go both ways, honestly. Whichever side's able to build that early game advantage is the one that turns out with the stronger marksman, and well, that could be the difference being made. That being said, though, I'm a huge fan of Supporter on this Galio. I feel like he's done such an amazing job. As I say that, well, he's going to face a tough time against SBTC, burning the heal and the flash away for 1 Ignite.
Yeah, both these supports are really good, but Arcano, you know, I was listening to Riku. She was saying Arcano lost all his games yesterday on the Thresh. All right, that was true, but he looked really good while losing it. And so I'll go to bat for this Thresh. And I think I think it's very good in lane, because if he can find a key hook here, he can set up for Kirol to snowball, which is the dream. If you can get Kirol out ahead, it means two things. One, of course, you have that late game Kai'Sa come online. Two, you delay the Corki.
That's amazing. Look at that crowd control layered through TJ. Sheba comes on big, giving Noel first blood.
That's why you play Vi. Sheba shows up in the top lane and finds the kill, handing it over to Noel, which is very important for Buriram. He's not going to do a ton of damage, but his ability to split team fights on this Jarvan has, I think, been a deciding factor in both of Buriram's wins so far in this series.
Oh no, but TF, he's walked into Sheba. He's gonna have to heal up. Gold Cloud ready, and they catch the Nunu off by the side. Will force the flash away as well.
Oh, good hook.
I mean, I'm not sure this is gonna be enough support. It's gonna turn things around, though. Sheba has to come in here, and it's the kill to Kinemon.
It really could not go any worse for SBTC. They're now down 1,000 gold. This isn't dire or anything, because kind of no matter what, Minas is going to have an advantage into Noel. Noel plays this lane very well, but he's playing as a very passive character into Darius, who does real damage. So most Noel can do here is just kind of vibe, and vibe aggressively, which is what he's doing. And down bottom, Arcano dies, but he's the support. So the scoreline at the top isn't as bad as it looks, but I also want to make sure we understand this is real good for Buriram.
Absolutely. I mean, they've been able to build some tempo here. Aquino is starting to rotate around. You saw him take the flash away from Achini, but it's not the best spot.
We got a dragon coming up now. So all of this, the flash missing, the play up in the top lane, all of this is going to be tested as we get into our first major fight. And I will say that SBTC do have an advantage here. Kirol does a little bit more damage than Corki during the early game. Kai'Sa's pretty scary during these first couple of minutes because her passive means that her auto attacks are just more effective than anyone else's, so long as she can land 6 of them onto the same target. So let's see if SBTC can wield that aggressively. They're already starting to set up vision around this dragon. All of Buriram are making a beeline towards it.
We did see Anthony with a miraculous steal on the Rift Herald in the first game. We'll see if something like that repeats itself. SBTC coming in here, but it's going to be BRU that pull the trigger. Lock them down with the package. It's enough damage to take down TF first. But the remaining members of BRU are looking low. Supporter comes in big with the heroic entrance. And Noel is still in the face of Kiro. The flagging drag comes across. Barely misses out on damage. Take him down with the gold card onto Julie. Forces them away. They take down Kinemon though.
Julie still poking away, still chipping away. He's got low HP targets, but Dragon's already been taken. Oh!
Ooh, Noel! He's still alive! He's still alive!
He's so low. Here's the chase. I don't think he can get it. Julie, what is this? Oh, he's going for it. No.
But in the meantime, TJ, while that Dragon was going over the BRU, it looks like Rift Tower started up by SBTC. At the same time, topside turret, the Baron lane outer tier turret's gone over to Minas as well, who's now found himself a solid 700 gold lead.
Yeah, this is actually pretty big because the Rift Tower's going to be in SBTC's pocket, and they have somebody to put it onto now. Minas has come into this roster for Yanaro, and whenever they need a carry, it feels like you bring Minas out on the Darius. If he shows up here, now, oh.
No,
Too
get
late.
him on!
Okay, that was just wildly aggressive. I love that from Kinemon. Buriram are just playing on the edge right now. They're playing so aggressive. But they're going to have a roadblock from this top lane. Minas is now on a pretty massive gold lead. He's completed Denman's Plate. He's going to be able to run into these fights with Denman's Plate and Gargoyles and pretty much ignore the damage from Corki during this early game. So he's kind of, I think, the hope here for SBTC.
Sure, but Minas has to be actively a part of these fights, which he hasn't been able to. He's been on the side lane, he's been split pushing, building up pressure across the map. But again, this means that he's not going to be actively a part of these team fights.
Which was a sacrifice they made for that first Dragon fight, which I don't think SBTC intended to, like, fight. I think they just wanted to kind of skirmish, and then Sheba changed that by jumping on him. So I suspect... Oh, this is an aggressive Rift Herald here.
Yeah,
check
good
out who's
tempo move
online.
coming
Minas
in.
is in the area.
They're looking for the catch onto Minas. Here we have the fight starts out. Gold card from Archie to get some good damage off. It's a big cataclysm as well as the hero's entrance. But Supporter and Noel lack the damage to finish off the kills. It's Minas who's joined into the fight now. That finds the first reset. It's a double kill coming across. Chasing after the third. The Valkyrie's going to build some space, but you have to watch out for a gold card. Plus big one, not enough to take him down. And the second Rift Tower charge to boot.
And there's the early game SBTC have been looking for this entire series. Minas farms up a turret in the top lane, and just like that, it's lights out for Buriram for this entire next few minutes. Buriram still have late game value, but Kinemon, the source of that late game value, is miles away from being able to do major damage. I don't know why Julie was there. That was kind of silly. He shouldn't have been there.
And tried to recall, but actually used his ultimate. I'm gonna give it to him. You know, it's not the best spot to be in, but BRU, they're going crazy aggressive here, TJ.
Oh yeah, they're not content. They know what I just laid out is true, and so they're going to try and force advantages across the map, which is risky. This is doubling down and trying to force an advantage against this Darius before he can become truly scary and kind of escort into a dominant mid game. If Buriram can force fights for SBTC here defensively, they can keep SBTC on the back foot for these next couple of minutes, it becomes much easier to get into Corki time. Kirill, are you not taking that lantern? This is why I rage quit playing support.
Well, you don't have to take the lantern. I mean, Kirill's, he's in no danger. He doesn't care about that. They're going for the turret.
But he needs to reset because we're coming into a Drake. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, the reason why Buriram are playing aggressive right now is because they want to keep SBTC on the back foot, and they've done a very good job of doing that. SBTC haven't been able to do very much with their early game advantage that they just earned. I will note, Kirill has just completed Blade of the Rune King, Lud and Zeko completed on Julie. This is about as good as the going is going to get for SBTC. They need to press this 2k gold advantage on the right characters, get Minas into this fight, get Kirill going, and lock down this Drake, force Buriram to fight for it, hopefully.
SBTC, they're moving on to the Dragon first, though. BRU a little bit late to respond. Look at
They're
Noel.
not going
On the
to.
top side, they're giving this one up. It's not worthwhile for them.
This is the... Oh, Sheba.
Oh, what's happening here? Maybe he wants to make something happen, but just gonna get
Someone
back
hit
out
the
over the wall.
blast code early is what just happened. he ended up in the pit with no interest in being there. I think it was Artony who walked in behind him, and I think Artony legitimately just ordered the blast code, and he wasn't ready for that.
Might be the case. Well, we'll look at SBTC trying to dive Archie, takes the flash away from him. TF collapsing as well. BRU trying to trade back on the top side. We'll find this turret here.
Okay. So turret picked up. This is really good play from Buriram. Like I said, SBTC want to force a team fight here. They want to play with their advantage. And Buriram first start by shoving them back defensively, and then follow that up by saying, no, we're not going to fight you for the dragon. You can have the mountain drake. Who needs rocks?
Ooh. Trying to pick off a straggler from SBTC. That's pretty ambitious, Archie.
Yeah,
They've got enough game for him.
They've got enough CC in the area. This is one of the advantages of the compositions that Buriram has been playing, that Buriram's playing here. Is if Archie lands a stun, you have the instant follow-up from Shiba on the Vi, you have the instant follow-up from the Galio landing a big taunt. It's very easy to combo off of the Galio gold card.
Oh, moving towards the Baron now, it's interesting to see. I mean, despite the fact that I don't think there's that much of a threat of the Baron, it just seems like there's so much pressure there, and both sides have to really respect the possibility that's going to go over the enemy team. Well, nice upper hand onto Shiba. Fortunately, Minas is unable to convert that into more. No follow-up from his team.
Yeah, Minas not really building for damage, going Deadman's Plate into Black Cleaver here. Pressure up top. So he's going to be looking as an engage, and he's going to be looking to get the damage off of his raw stats. If he can start executing people in team fights, that's big.
Okay, catch on to Supporter. Kinemon's going to draw a line in the sand using his ultimate. Supporter's going to get over the wall with Heroic Entrance. Flash forward, Killer Instinct. But Kiril's gone too deep in. He's going to get locked down. Damage coming through from Shiba. Excessive force, not enough to take him down. Kinemon flashes to the wall. Minas in their face, racking havoc. And now Shiba needs to get away. Akino's caught by the death sentence. The flame that takes him down. The Emperor hand to boot. And they're moving on to the Baron.
That was the sickest thrush play I've ever seen from Akino. He lands the hook onto one, flays the other back, and sets up the bowling pins. Venus comes through like a 1,000-pound bowling ball and knocks down the team fight. Buriram are scattered, and SBTC have themselves a Baron and maybe a game in this series.
So much pressure on BRU. The mid lane turret broken open, the top lane turret broken open, and so they had to step up aggressively. You saw what happened there. Supporter tried to get some vision, tried to get some control, was caught by Akino. And this is such a difficult spot for BRU to be in. Now with the Baron though, that's one less threat they have to worry about, but not as much wave clear as this Ziggs for sure.
Okay, watch out for these next couple of minutes though. Oh my, TF.
I'm watching out for it, and it's looking like they're going to catch Akino here. They're going to catch Archie, actually, and they look for the top back Supporter, trying to keep his mid laner safe. Unfortunately, things are looking a little bit difficult with the absolute zero cross, and Akino once again finds a death sentence, puts Kinemon at a distance. BRU give up this turret.
SBTC know they need to win right now. If they let Buriram get even a sliver of a hope back into this game, it could get dangerous.
You say that, but they're jumping onto Julie. They're looking for the re-engaged back Supporters in the face of 4 from SBTC. Noel's building up space over the back. They've taken down Kino first. Unfortunately, a lot of the damage has been front-loaded, used on the support. Archie's priming up the gold card.
Noel does such a good job in that fight, yet again, diving on the backlines and separating them completely from Akino up front. Here come SBTC now having to fight a 4v5 as a result of Noel's heroics, splitting that fight and surviving to the end.
And surviving to the end is exactly what BRU have done, TJ. They've waited out this Baron.
And now SBTC have to fight for this dragon, essentially down a player. Sure, Akino's respawning, but he's not going to be here at this fight. So I don't know if they can do it. Look, Kiril's on the other side of the map. He's just gone back to base.
TF's come in as well. They're trying to use the ultimate from the TF to maybe get some information, get some space. Teleport's coming in now. They're looking to take one down first. Unfortunately, BRU not enough damage to execute the first. You still have this Nunu working magic on the Corki, unable to take him down. He's so tanky, they can't get rid of him. Minas still alive to the front of the damage. Kinemon's gone down. Supporter dead as well. SBTC Kiril chasing after the remaining members who are running back into base.
Kiril teleports back into the middle of that fight. Instant killer instinct, and it's enough. SBTC's backline. The Rabadon's completed on Julie. He's pumping damage out. Kiril's chewing away at the backline, and I think they've kept this series going.
20-second death time is looking too long, and once again, Akino with the death sentences that put BRU in their place. They're gonna take down Archie, the final one to fall, but BRU will see 3 respawn in time.
Yeah, Shiba, Kinemon supporter, they're all back right now. SBTC, it looks like they're gonna back away if they can.
Flash forward, get the lockdown onto Julie Aquino, the Knicks on the hit list if they're taken down. But look at the damage to the base, TJ.
Greedy by SBTC. They know that Julie has the ability to execute turrets, so they're so sure that if they just hang around for a moment longer, that Ziggs can blow up that final inhibitor. And with 2 inhibitors down, it's almost impossible to get back in this game.
SBTC are playing with their tournament lives here. There's still a little bit more.
The Baron. The Baron's coming up, and that's what Buriram are positioning for. If they can find a pick, it's their Baron to take.
But it's so difficult. Supporters trying to make it happen. They jump out the Minas first by so tanky, especially with the Gargoyles. Where's Noel? He's not here to set them up.
Buriram have to back away. It was a Hail Mary. They brought their entire team up to the top lane in order to contest this Baron, and I don't think they can. Watch that minion wave down bottom. It's about to crash and take that inhibitor turret that they just narrowly saved. And Buriram stay here,
Minas is
opting
alone
for the Baron fight.
TJ, Minas is alone. He's getting caught out. The assault batteries enough to take him down. They've lost the Baron laner.
This is huge. Buriram, can they fight this? No, they have to go back to base because the waves are crashing. They can't stay.
Well, SBTC, well, look at TF though. He's trying to get an engage off. He's trying to catch off Archer. The death sentence goes wide. Not able to connect Shiba. Maybe looking for the re-engage. Noel's there as well, but Kinemon's got to make the base.
Kinemon's cleaning up the waves. So SBTC have a 4-on-4.
They're not here for this fight. They try and jump at the back, looking to take down Kiro, but Noel, he has to get out. He has to get away from the calculus of Archony, unable to unload damage. Kinemon's finally joined back in, trying to take down the backline members. SBTC caught in a choke point, and it's BRU coming up big with the damage. SBTC fight back beautifully, and Kiro flashes over the wall to take down Kinemon. It's 3 dead on the side of BRU.
What a team fight! Yes, Buriram have a player advantage for half of it, but it does not matter because Julie and Kirill stay at the backlines, pumping out the damage, and with a massive, well-timed Mega Inferno Bomb, they turn that choke point that they were being slaughtered inside of, and SBTC managed to win the 5-on-4, and this means they should be able to get the Baron, especially as they finish off Shiba. This is going to be the Baron, and this might be the game, and it would mean that this series and Buriram's Horizon Cup hopes continue for a moment longer.
SBTC, they have the power to brute force onto the Nexus, TJ. They don't even have to set up anymore. Just go in with the waves. They have so much damage to take this one down, and that's going to be the Baron over to SBTC. Next one is that Elder Inferno, a critical one, but it might not mean enough. If BRU lose a few members for that Elder and Drake, they're still gonna lose.
I mean, we're going late at this point. This is around the time that Kinemon's going to get scary. You can see him at 3-item completion. But Kirill's a whole item ahead of him. He's got so much more gold because of how SBTC have pressed their advantage. They've snowballed their lead, no pun intended. So they're not going to keep this game going. They're not going to give Kinemon any time to extend his lead. They're going to shove in with this Baron and try and end the game.
Noel's looking for the flank. They jump onto Aquino first. He's the target to focus. You have supporter jumping into the back. Gets crowd control off, but Shiba's down. Shiba's dead. Noel the next to fall as well, and it looks like BRU, their final stand is not going to be enough because the remaining members are falling. Archony's gone. Kinemon's dead. Supporters the next to fall. With 4 gone aside, BRU SBTC will pull this into a game number 4.
We have a series on our hands as SBTC step up and deny the clean.
It's a trap pick. Please do not play it on both sides, please. Like you could clearly see it. SBTC lose two games with Vi, and Buriram lose 1 game with Vi as well.
Oh, she's just so... Riku, she's the new harbinger of death here.
Yeah, it's not gonna be Olaf anymore. That's gonna be the harbinger of death. I think the theme now would be Vi. So we've seen a couple of Vi games yesterday on the hands of Team Secret as well. So now SBTC on your blue side, they still want that scaling for Julie on this. That means Kaisa is gonna be available for first red side priority. Galio Kaisa is incredibly strong. We've seen this combo basically dismantle EVOS Esports yesterday in their game on that 3-1 victory.
Yeah, Jess, looking here that the Kaisa is on the side of Buriram United. What do you think? Are they feeling good? What can SBTC do to counter this?
They're feeling great. They could pick a combination of Thresh and Varus to try to shut down Kaisa in the early game. because Kaisa lose so hard against folk champion like Varus.
That's true. And without supporter on the Braum, it makes things a little bit harder to survive the 2v2 early game. So perhaps you're right. Thresh, Chain of Corruptions with the Varus is going to be incredibly deadly. Or we might see the Quirky versus Kaisa matchup that we constantly saw back in, again, the Buriram versus Evos matchup where, you know, Kiral is able to sort of match up the damage when, against Kinemon. Or no!
Oh,
Whoa, seriously?
Ezreal. Okay.
I mean, it's not that great with Thresh, but you could Arcane Shift out of so many things. Shockwave, Taunt from Galio, Cataclysm, right? It brings a lot of value in this game. It's real.
Yeah, I can imagine how annoying this might be. Like, you know, the combination might not be optimal, but I can just imagine like a lot of mobility here, countering, you know, the Kaisa's mobility as well. But, you know, what I'm concerned is like, now we have Minas on the side of SBTC. They have that, you know, power. They have that motivation there. But they have Kaisa on the side of Buriram United. So it's kind of like the two win conditions sort of SBTC. They are now split. So it's going to be a real challenge to see SBTC come out of that. And since the final picks are coming in, Jess, what are your final thoughts before we step into the game?
Oh, I love how SBTC try to do the same thing. Like don't fix what ain't broken, right? So they try to do the replay for the game 3 on game 4 again.
And definitely Buriram United will have their eyes on Minas as we step into game number 4. Casters, take it away.
Don't fix what ain't broken. I've never heard truer words in my life, TG. Having come from an IT background, I can tell you that's absolutely true.
All right, weird flex, but okay, Grandin.
Look, I don't know what I'm doing half the time, but I hope SBTC
But when you're
do.
fixing computers, let me tell you, I'm set. That's Grandin.
Well, SBTC, they're coming back in here. It's the same strategy. You have TF on the Nunu, you have Minas back on this Darius, and it's looking like a powerful duel.
And you know what they say when you're working in IT? 99% of the time, someone comes in with a problem, you say, hey, I'm gonna be real with you, it sounds silly, but have you tried turning it off, turning it back on again, just resetting to default settings? That's what Buriram have done. This is just the Buriram that got all the way through the bracket phase. They've got Archony on this Orianna, they've got the tank on Shiba, he's playing Jarvan, Noel's playing Renekton, also hyper late game. This entire team is just built around the theory, we're gonna get to the late game, and we're gonna win.
And it's important for them to have those tools because you have to worry about Archony. He's not going to have that kind of damage until he has those 2-3 item spikes, which we commonly see Orianna fall into the trap of because they're going aggressive early. They end up negating a lot of the farm they're supposed to have.
I do also want to flag something here with Kiral on the Kaisa, because Kiral on the Ezreal instead of Kaisa, because I'm a really big Ezreal fan. I've been talking it up in our back rooms the entire tournament. I think Ezreal has a pretty massive mid-game power spike, and he's going to do some very scary sustained damage. Oh, Minas. Wow. He'll survive this. And this is something that Buriram were trying to do, is shut him down. But I think you've also got to pay attention to Kiral here. Buriram very clearly worried about Minas, worried about the top side. Kiral, whose positioning is so good, is just going to thrive on an Ezreal. And this is the potential to be a really scary AD carry, not just for this game, but I think going forward in this tournament if it bears out well. In the meantime, though, Buriram are going for round 2 up top.
We had some expectations for what BRU were going to try and get done early. Well, this dives early on are what we're looking for. They're going up against Minas, who's had to pop both summoner spells and will go down for the first on the board for BRU.
And I think this needs to signal an adjustment for SBTC. If Buriram are going to say, hey, we're boosting our Renekton, hey, we're going to get this top side as far ahead as possible, SBTC, I think, ought to handshake into that. Unless you can repair Minas' wave at this point, you say, all right, that's fine. He'll still be fine. He's on a Darius. It won't be as hard carry as it was last game, but he'll survive this experience. And let's get this Ezreal started. Let's get our mid lane Zig started, because that's going to be the majority of your damage. And as long as Minas gets to Stone Plate, builds armor, he'll be fine. Oh, wow.
Has repeat gank onto Minas, puts him to Cataclysm. It's such a beautiful combo and such awareness and presence of mind from BRU.
And that sucks, But man, does it also feel good if you're Minas that Buriram have built their entire game plan around shutting down that top lane.
Because you have moments like this where you flash down, you have Aquino gets the death sentence, and you have Kiro collecting the kill now to the bottom side. Archie will fall to Julie as well.
Watch Kinemon coming in for the cleanup.
I'm not sure if he can do this. I mean, it's 3 members here. He has to be careful about it.
Just repairs the wave, keeps the turret safe. Really good adjustment from SBTC. They see what I'm seeing. They say, hey, there's so much focus up top. Minas is never going to be ahead this game into a Renekton. He's just out. So let Minas play safe, focus in on that bottom lane, especially coming into this dragon.
The dragon's going to be coming up soon, and so it's something for both teams to try and play towards. You can see support starting to rotate towards that. A couple of resets come across, but most critically, it's a completed item for Noel.
How much do you want to bet Minas does the same thing he did last game and just stays here on top side and farms?
I do not want to bet anything like that because I feel like I'm going to lose.
Well, it's interesting to me because it would indicate why he did it last time. It looks like he's roaming down, which is interesting. Here we go. SBTC going for a 5-on-5. Here we go.
They start this one up. Shiba's going to force them away. Supporter unable to find an entry angle. They have to make their way in. Flag and Drag won't be able to collect on them. They get the catch on the TF first. Supporters coming in pretty big here with the taunt as well. Noel joins in the back. They're looking to take down Julie first. And they found the first pick off on the side of SBTC. But Noel in the face of 4, unable to get much more done. Shockwave comes across, but too early for damage to be online.
Good for 3 kills in this game, 2 in that fight. He just sits in the back line and pumps out damage. His true shot synced perfectly up with the Mega Inferno Bomb, and Keral's now got a massive lead with so many stacks on this Muramana. It's going to be a huge mid-game power spike for his Ezreal.
Dragon's still available for both sides, so they're going to double back, run back towards it. SBTC the ones that move towards it first, though.
Buriram should not fight this. This is crazy. If Buriram step back in, they're behind so much gold. All of their damage is on Shiba, who's playing Jarvan. They cannot step into this.
And it seems to be the case because they've looked to give this one up. Noel's going to be the one up in the Baron lane to try and pick up the turret, maybe equalize with a little bit of gold, even if they lose this dragon.
Poke does not land. Good movement from Archony. Buriram trying with a late start on this Rift Herald. They're not going to get this either.
Exactly, they're moving on to the Rift Tower, but it's a little bit too late because supporters going to go down first. They come back in, it's Noel. No, it's Shiba trying to build some space for the team, but they were unable to finish it off and to get the hook onto Kinemon, and that's an 80 carry dead.
Akano hooks out Kinemon, and that's huge as the late game carry for Buriram is out of the game again. 2 fights in a row. He's shut down. Rift Herald over to SBTC, and the early game monsters out of Vietnam, the region so prized for its early game play, have come online.
But you can't put BRU dead to rights yet because you still have the opportunity to scale Kinemon up into the late game. Where it is dangerous, though, is Kiro's already starting to scale up even more.
I absolutely can. I'm going to make this prediction right now in front of how many people are in chat. You could hold me to it. Twitch clip this. This is SBTC's game to lose. Yes, Buriram are still in this. The gold is relatively close. But with the momentum they have right now, and most critically, the massive amount of gold that's been poured into Kirol, I think SBTC are going to be very hard-pressed to throw this. Buriram's real only hope for a miracle comes from Archony, comes from Noel.
First power spike for Kinemon, though, because he has the Captain Rain upgrade. We'll look to see if Noel's able to generate some pressure in the side lane as well. They did get that turret of their own, so that's why the goal is as even as it is. But you can start to see, well, discrepancies starting to form between a couple of the members. Look at how much more gold Kiro has over Kinemon, and as well as how much gold Julie has over Archony.
And this is all about the bottom lane to SBTC. You see them again, CF paying a visit. This game is defined by Kirol, and they know it. So over and over again, they send the resources down there, and they will allow Minas to suffer because they figure if they can get this Ezreal out ahead, it matters more than Noel being ahead.
Trading sides here. BRU will get some pressure down.
Mid
While
lane.
they're also looking to try and protect this, but you have to worry about mid lane as well, exactly.
CF running down the river, very low HP after the true shot. Poke comes out, so that turret's gonna die. Here comes TF.
Oh my goodness, supporter, he tries to jump back in, but he doesn't have the HP. And once again, Aquino has been so on point with these hooks.
And this is gonna get worse.
I mean, it's the flash forward, the upper hand. Noel dodges away from a little bit of the damage, but will still fall. It doesn't matter how many resources you put on him in the face of the fight from SBTC.
Kirill's doing so much damage, and all of the focus is gathered rightly around that damage as the full rotate, full send in the bottom lane pays off. And you have another additional factor, and part of the reason why this SBTC comp is going to snowball so hard, the reason I have so much faith in it, they have a really good momentum gathering comp. They have so much turret siege, because you've got the hooks that can always go fishing. You've got the ability to get behind those turrets very quickly from TF and tank up those turrets, and then you've got the raw turret shred of Ezreal coupled with Ziggs. One of the reasons I think Ezreal is undervalued right now is because he can auto-attack turrets for massive boosted damage with his second ability. You see him apply it there to the turret and convert. Big damage. Joined with the Ziggs, that's unstoppable. These turrets are going to vanish, and the gold lead is going to balloon for SBTC.
SBTC has been doing a very good job dictating the pace of the game, going to the side that they want to be at. BRU, they're trying their best to keep up, stay afloat in this rapidly tension-rising game, trying to equalize to the bottom side, but it's not panning out very well for them. Dragon's coming up soon, so SBTC is going to rotate down as well.
And Minas is playing this so well. You might be like, but he's losing all his lane fights. He is, but he's stalling out and he's keeping everyone busy, and this sets up for this.
Exactly. Flash away from supporter. It means he does get away, but he commits a summon spell to get out.
Minas died twice in the first couple of minutes, and he's still adding so much value to his team by accepting that he's not the carry anymore. He's now the support. He's going to play safe in the bottom lane. He's going to lose slowly, and that's going to earn his team advantages on the map as they get another dragon, and Buriram continue to fall behind. That gold lead that was 3,000 a couple of moments ago has expanded now to 7K.
And snowballing more with these, well, non-gold kind of power spikes, right? We're starting to see the items, the scaling items really show through. We're starting to see those double dragons really pose a potent effect. And Buriram United, they have a difficult time trying to respond to this. The upper hand comes across, Shiba commits in with the flag and drive, but he's had to flash out instead. Well, TF now is going to face off against Noel, but it's not much disruption the Renekton can get done. Supporter tries to jump back in. They're looking for the re-engage damage. Comes across from Julie. True Shot Barrage unable to find its mark. Renekton still alive at this point. They're turning it around. Back onto Minas, who's looking low. The Ignite comes across, but the Dark Passage will keep him safe. Jumping in to kill it. But Kinemon jumped into his death as well.
That's for Minas! Minas has no gold! Kinemon, what a waste! You can't one-for-one trade for the Darius. It's worth nothing! And Kinemon's dead, so there's now no carry up for Buriram. They can't team fight even if they wanted to, and SBTC just start pushing.
Re-engage coming through from Shiba. Support is looking for the taunt onto 2. Noel jumps in the back looking to take down Kirill, but Kirill's vibing out here. He's unable to get taken down, and he just keeps poking you back, and he takes down another one as well.
Kinemon loses his team that turret with that one-for-one trade. That's insane, and it's going to lose them the Baron as well. Kinemon's respawning, but I think SBTC are just going to start burning this, and Ezreal has a very quick Baron take. Look at this.
They're making a beeline towards this though, TJ. They're trying to contest for this. The Absolute Zero is going to come across. The Baron dropping down low quickly. Shiba, he's being held in place. The flag not going to give him enough information. He can't get over the wall. He can't go in. He's into the pit now, but still too way high. And unable to steal it away. It goes over to TF. Meanwhile, Archie's going to flash away. He's going to fall as Mina chases after. Well, unable to get that final kill, but still Baron to SBTC.
That was very sketchy. And unlike what happened earlier where Kinemon sacrificed his life for a very questionable play, I like what Shiba did there because he's playing a tanky character. He's got a gold lead. He'll survive for a really long period of time. It's very possible he wins that smite fight. So he goes for the risk. Yes, even into Nunu, it's the right call for Shiba because getting the Baron is the only way Buriram extend this game. SBTC, with their aforementioned turret shred, with the Baron in hand, are just going to destroy these turrets.
And we're starting to see Kirill's Miramana completed, making him even stronger marksman, and so the value's there as well. Now, they're looking for a flank. BRU desperately trying to hold on to the game. Support is going to come in with the heroic entrance to get the lockdown first, maybe trying to take down TF, but he's still alive. Through it all, the True Shot Barrage, racking the back Kinemon. He's so low, the fight just barely started.
What a good play from Buriram. They find the angle. It's an excellently executed take, but you see they just have no damage.
Watch out for Noel. He's jumping into the back. He can't take
He's
down the Kiro
gone.
though. Minas is there to provide the damage. The bodyguard to make sure that his marksman is safe. They're looking to maybe have Kinemon come online here, but he's taken down by Minas. And Kiro going aggressively, dashing into the base. SBTC on the victory march to equalize the scoreline, bringing this series 2-2.
A tie game at 2 as SBTC demonstrate what they're known for, opening this game up in the first 5 minutes and shutting it down in the first 10. That is a
such as the Renekton, so your only choice is to either swap in the mid lane. I know it's a little bit awkward with Kai'Sa matchups in general versus champions that is strong early to mid, but at the same time, I totally agree with Jess. Paired with the Galio, you have Icadian Rain for the wave clear, and that is what is weak towards the Ezreal. Without True Shot Barrage, wave clear is basically non-existent.
And I just have to say, you know, Kirill on Ezreal, it was so ironic. He didn't even have to be in the fight to make an impact. I mean, you're talking about this, Jess, about the range that SBTC had on that. They didn't have to meet Buriram United right like where they were. They could just, you know, sit back and wait for them to play into them because of that range. And right now, we're seeing no Braum over here. That leaves the Galio open. What could Buriram United do? They need to be able to pick this up. What do you think?
Don't play Galio. They're gonna pick Thresh anyway. Just try something else. They could pick Lulu as well, but not right now, right? They're gonna play
you
it
took that.
again. I'm not so sure though.
Okay, what if it's a Galio mid for Archony and it is a Kai'Sa Lulu? Because the Kai'Sa Lulu combo has been picked constantly up against the Thai regional finals up against EVO. So perhaps this could be a big switcheroo.
Yeah, if that's the case, that would throw SBTC off guard for sure.
That would be okay. We're seeing the Thresh, the Akeno special once again, but I think that, you know, that's pretty interesting, given that Buriram United again. It was that Thai Icon Series, you know, special. We did see the Lulu come out again and again. Perhaps that could be the key for Buriram United.
Yeah.
They really need to break out and think of something outside of the box right now, especially since whoever wins this game is going to the Horizon Cup.
Oh, they're picking TF again. So here's the thing, picking Lulu against Thresh isn't the best idea, right? You're gonna lose the lane so hard. Yeah.
I guess that is going to be the mindset now. It's going to be still a supporter on that Galio, which SBTC says, hey, we're not going to pick the Ezreal into this matchup. Still Corki. Corki meaning that, you know, he can stand toe to. Wait a minute, double
Wow.
80 carry, double poke.
I'm not sure about this, because if SBTC still runs Nunu, this seems like a reasonable draft, but it's almost a 4-man damage like composition, right? With only Thresh Hook and possibly Apprehend from Darius.
That is true. That is true. That is exactly why SBTC should definitely win this early game. They should make sure that they can snowball, or else Buriram again, Galio, Jarvan 4.
Well, you're gonna love a double ADC composition from SBTC now.
I am loving this double AD carry composition, and I think that the way SBTC have decided to play it is entirely around the way that Kirol and Julie like to play. They have the early game advantage down bottom in the hands of Kirol, and he's going to be able to build so much from TF's Riven. And then in the mid lane, you've got Julie. He's scaling to the lake no matter what. He's playing on, guess what, a Corki. There's nowhere for Buriram to win this game in the early or late game. Their only window, their only hopes are pinned on their own star mid laner. It's Archony who needs to go huge on this Twisted Fate and grab Buriram an opportunity, force a window open in the middle of this match.
But if there's any one play on BRU to put your hopes on, I mean, it has to be on Archony. And look at his bot side, though. Kiro, he's so cracked.
He's so good, and he's playing Ezreal, an undervalued character, and demonstrating why it's undervalued, able to step up and provide so much early damage, and if he gets rolling once that Barabana completes, he's going to do so much mid and late game damage as well, as we saw last game.
Look at the moves coming through. Akino's gonna go in with the death sentence once again. Finds supporter, forces the flash away. Shiba tries to jump in. Wind becomes lightning, goes across. But with the Corki coming in, they have to back away.
And I want to highlight two things about that interaction. First of all, that happens because Kirel earns a lane advantage. And what that whole fight meant was that Kinemon, and in fact nobody on Buriram, got the gold from that minion wave. It crashed against the turret and died. So Buriram lose the bottom scuttle crab, and they lose the gold from the... ooh, huge fight!
Huge taunt, huge fight set up by supporter, but he's the first to fall either way. They trade back for one. There we have it, Shiba. He's jumping in. This is big for BRU. They found them. They found 3. This is the early game lead they needed.
A massive advantage for Buriram, but I don't know why SBTC went for it. All their damage is down bottom. It's in Kirol, it's in TF on the Riven, and neither of those players are there to scrap for the topside scuttle crab. SBTC get antsy. It feels like they got nervous and go for an over-aggressive fight, and Buriram are able to punish them with a massive win for Shiba on the Xin Zhao. He now presents so much for his team, and he needs to be joined by Archony, who did also get gold from that fight. They need to blow open this game as a mid-jungle duo, or Buriram are in real trouble.
We saw massive success from Shiba on the Olaf in the previous games, and well, he's kind of gone back to that similar role now, playing for the Xin Zhao. I mean, he has some level of damage to take down Minas, TF in the front lines.
Yeah, Xin Zhao is really good in those first couple of moments if he can get early engages, because he has so much CC and damage compared to almost every other jungler. He's like a mini Jarvan and also a mini Olaf in the early games, which allows you to take fights like that, where you step up into the front lines. Someone like Julie just isn't doing damage to you from range. A very good fight for Shiba, a very good spot for Buriram. Just questioning why SBTC went for it.
Moving together as a unit, they were there to collapse in on BRU, and it seemed like they had a good moment for a second there. BRU turned that around really well.
Yeah, I mean, they just didn't have their damage with them. Yeah, they had Julie there, but he doesn't do anything. He's just a little floating, like, mood lamp right now. He's a lava lamp just floating around the room. And it's cool. It looks really nice, but he doesn't hurt.
Sure.
It's not real lava, you know that about lava lamps?
You've just broken the illusion for me, TJ. I don't know what to expect anymore. I don't know what to believe anymore.
I was really upset when I learned that too. First strike of the game is up. That's going to be an Infernal down bottom, and SBTC collapse on it. They want to take control of this early game back, and Buriram did not have the map positioning to punish him.
They're moving in quick, and like you mentioned, they don't have the map position to punish them, so they're going to have to give this one up. Destiny was pumped for this, so they know where they are. They're going to make their way towards the Rift Tower.
I'm wondering if Minas is going to get checked here. So I picked this thread up during the last game, and I think I will convert on it now, which is Minas stays topside for that dragon fight. He, last game, rotated down for the dragon fight for kind of the first time this series. And what that indicates to me is when Minas has a gold lead, he's staying in lane to grow it. When Minas is behind, good, flash forced. When Minas is behind, he's going to come down and fight with the team. But whilst he's ahead, Minas is going to try and continue growing this gold lead. As you can see, he's done so that he can be an additional teamfight carry, an additional teamfight threat. And with 4,000 gold in the bank, he's doing exactly that. He's currently clearing jungle because he knows over-aggression that we need to see corrected as we do get back into this game. And Minas has stepped up to defend his turret here.
Nice flash away. That was instantaneous there, TJ. Really good. Rift Tower going to be used to find a turret in the Baron lane. Once again, we're seeing the same repeated steps taken by BRU. Put emphasis towards that Baron lane.
And it's very difficult for Buriram to turn this round. Let's talk through how they do it, because again, this is game 5. They're going for it. They find these picks. That's what they need to do.
They're going onto Julie first, not able to do more damage onto the Corki. He's going to get away. Minas locked into the pit, into the Cataclysm, but he's so tanky with the Gargoyle Stoneplay. When becomes lightning comes across, they take down Noel, but Minas has fallen as well. TF now joins in, flashing forward with the third hit of the Q. Gets the knockout back onto supporter Galleon. No place to run on the opposite end of the map. They've managed to find a little bit more work done with Archony going over, but supporter will fall through his trade.
Really well played by Buriram. They find the opportunities they need to. Grabbing a bot lane turret, grabbing a top lane turret. TP now in.
Oh, gold card's ready, and they're looking for Aquino here. Might be able to get the kill, but Shiba's taking way too much damage. Way too quickly. Flash away from Archony. Won't get anything there.
But here's the problem. SBTC can still outfight you. TF, Minas do so much damage. They did such a good job managing that economy. And we see a little bit of what I was talking about during the break, where what do you gank onto? Where do you provide pressure of your Buriram? Because you lose all of these fights.
It's a single Rod of Ages for Archie at this point. He didn't have the damage that he needed. They overestimated how much they had. Shiba unfortunately went down, and that's the shutdown. Shiba's 4-0 at that point. Now he's 4-1. It's going to slow down the tempo that they had already built for the jungler.
And how on earth can Buriram save this, save their Horizon Cup hopes, now that they've tried their teleport plays and they haven't paid off? They did bring the gold lead back even, because they did take 2 turrets there. But if you look at where their gold is, it's not where they need it to be. It's not on Kinemon. It's instead on Shiba, who's going to fall off very hard in this mid-game. Archony is going to have his power spike in a moment as he completes Lich Bane. And I think he might be the entirety of Buriram. I think Archony might need to just single-handedly save this game.
He's become quite a powerful, damage source from the side of BRU. Kinemon is scaling up a little bit ahead of Kiro. But pound for pound, a little bit less effective than Jezreel.
And this is the window, right? We're going to the mid game right about now. And this is the window with Lich Bane complete where Archony needs to deliver, where Buriram needs to deliver. Because that Corki's coming online, that Riven isn't getting any smaller. And Kirill's about to complete his Muramana, find massive damage as well. Buriram need to strike now. They need to win fights now if they want to go to the Horizon Cup.
Tactic just up and ready for Julie. There we go. Death sentence across. Shiba tries to jump in, pulls out the Crescent Guard in the well. Pulls the trigger to jump into the back of SBTC. They try and jump out, but supporters coming in big as well with a 3-man knockup. Unfortunately, damage not there, not afforded for BRU to continue this aggression.
And they can't find the fight. They play it well, they get the setup, but they can't find the damage. They don't have anything to get past Minas, to get past Darkano. And here comes the Dragon.
Run it back. They're here to repeat this again. 2 of the best teams in the world butting heads right around the Dragon Pit. Archie comes with the gold card, unable to take them down. Kinemon falls in the process. It's huge for SBTC.
And Minas just holds the front line. Kirill steps up, provides the damage alongside Julie, and Buriram are shattered by the Dragon Pit as SBTC's gold lead continues to grow, and they get ever closer to a reverse sweep, to a ticket to Horizon, and a ticket to the grand final of the SCA Championship.
And pressure on BRU here, TJ. They came into this series with a 2-0 lead. They had 2 games under their belt. They needed 1 more to secure their spot in the Horizon Cup. Unfortunately, SBTC had been pulling it back.
Watch Kirill right here at the bottom of the fight. If you see him just sit there and have a free firing field, a narrow choke point, that's what Ezreal wants. He just wants people to be standing in a very narrow, like horizontal swath in front of him. So you don't even need to aim at that point. You can just be tapping the skill shot buttons and having a great time.
It's building up to become even stronger as well. Kinemon's starting to fall off now. He might have had some damage before, but starting to not stack up compared to what we see from Julie and from Kirill. Shiba's been having a difficult time. He's been trying to lead the charge, initiate for the team. Archie's coming in now. Gold card over on the Kirill, who's dashed in. He has to flash over the wall. Re-engage coming in for Kinemon, who's dashed in with Killer Instinct, but he's dead!
Kinemon uses the Killer Instinct to try and get shielding, but there's just no way he survives that. And what a flash in from Julie!
It's the wrong move, though. They can't take him down. They don't have the damage. SBTC dive in for a triple kill in the mid lane.
Julie flash barrier underneath the turret, and he gets the kills. And this is going to be SBTC with the Baron, unless Shiba does something remarkable.
Mina's hot on his tails, is looking to use the upper hand to pull him out. He's into the pit, he's taken down Julie, but without the damage, the finish off the rest whip becomes lightning, almost takes down Carol. They're chasing after this kill, they'll finally get it. But BRU's coming back up and the Baron resets.
That's huge from Shiba. He's done so much. Here comes the TP. Archony looking for it.
Void Seeker, it blocks it, it stops the recall. Aquino can't go back and they can't reset.
Buriram can't take the Baron either, not without their jungler, but what a heroic performance from Shiba as he keeps Buriram in this game almost single-handedly.
An intense moment for BRU. Single misstep could cost them this series, and they have to hold on. Individual mechanical plays have been what has been the shining moments for BRU, honestly, here, TJ.
Yeah. The star plays from Kinemon, from Noel, from Archony, now from Sheba, are what has built the bridges that Buriram have walked all the way here on to the winners' final. A win here takes them to the grand final and books them one of the 2 slots out of this tournament to the international tournament, the Horizon Cup. A loss here puts them down in the lower bracket, where they still will have a chance. They'll have to fight with elimination nipping at their heels against the best in Southeast Asia for that ticket to Horizon, for that path back into the grand final.
More matches to play. A difficult spot to drop down lower there. So they have to try and close things out here, TJ.
All of Buriram gathering up top. Kinemon racing in here. SBTC want to force a fight now.
But surely they can't. Surely they can't look for this. Noel jumps in as a catalyst to lock in the back line. Kiro's unable to get away. Julie stuck in there as well, but he lacked the damage to finish him off. Minas misses out the chance of the reset, but the upper hand will pull back Sheba. And SBTC win the fight in the top lane.
And Buriram, they're trying to challenge for a fight up there, and they just can't hold those turrets. They need to be angling for something, but they have nowhere to start because SBTC are just grouping up. They know that Buriram's only path into the game is through assassinations, picks, finds from Archony. So SBTC are covering the map as this 5-man, just absolute murder squad, and there's nothing that Buriram can do to pry them apart, to find opportunities. Very good pickup from Archony there. We'll grab the Rift Scuttler. That'll mean that SBTC, when they do this Dragon, are going to be on vision. But I don't know if that means anything. Buriram, their window is closing before we get into the Corki late game, and they're so far behind.
BRU. Well, they've lost a lot of tempo here. Another Dragon's going to go over to SBTC Esports, and well, things are looking dire for this team, who are still holding on the best that they can. But it seems like they haven't been able to identify the issues they've caused in the past 2 games.
I mean, they couldn't get anything done during the early game, during the mid game where their window was. And now we're here. Look at the damage coming up from Kirol and Julie. Look at SBTC marching towards the grand final and the first qualification to the Horizon Cup.
And it's so difficult for them to defend against this. They're now stepping up against Julie, against Kirol, who have 2 incredibly fast pushing champions. 2 of these marksmen now looking very strong. Sheba is doing the best that he can, trying to prevent the turrets from going down, but the bomb side will fall eventually. And they're just going to have to retreat back into base.
And with the inhibitor gone, Buriram are going to keep pushing. They need to save this turret.
Noel's jumped in now with the heroic entrance following through, but Noel's the first to fall. Mina splashes in, looking to take one down. But
He's
Julie,
huge.
Kirol, the double ADC composition, too much damage. And there we have it. SBTC Esports, get your passports ready. You are the first Southeast Asian champions, representatives into the Horizon Cup.
Pack your bags. You're going all the way. They've gotten it to the grand finals at SBTC. The last representatives from Vietnam are indeed the first qualifier out of Southeast Asia to the Horizon Cup. A massive win, a reverse sweep against Buriram as they pull this series back from the brink of defeat and send Buriram down to the lower bracket to play for their lives.